Well, I don't see any hawks, but this is probably the tree Red was talking about. At least it was the tree. That sounded like a hawk. There it is. I better get a picture before it takes off. Hey, what is that hawk standing on? Oh, that looks like a speaker. Huh? I better get out of here. My arms and legs are tied. I can't move. At least I can kick. If I could just get that scythe down, I could use the blade to cut the rope around my wrists and free my hands. I can't just let this thing burn up. I've got to put it out.
What in blazes happened? I saw the fire from my platform and came running. You weren't in there playing with matches, were you?
I was looking at birds, and then I noticed something on the house, and the next thing I knew, I was locked in the tool shed and somebody was setting it on fire.
Whoa, you're not making much sense. Probably smoke inhalation or something. Come talk to me after you've cleaned yourself up and gotten some sleep. I need to tell you something.
Somebody tried to kill you?
I didn't say that.
Somebody knocked you out, locked you in a shed, set it on fire, and you think they were, what, just pulling a prank? Wake up and smell the hostile vibes, Nancy.
I guess it's just hard for me to believe that anybody would consider me to be that big a threat.
I should have never let you stay there by yourself.
Sally, I'm fine. I feel bad about your tool shed, though.
Who cares about the shed? It was full of junk anyway. I'm glad to be rid of it.
That's kind of the way Ranger Akers saw it, too. He showed up right after the birdwatcher did and ticketed me for burning refuse in a manner that endangered park property.
That man is insufferable.
Emily was nice, though. She came by right afterwards and wouldn't leave until I drank the tea she made for me.
Look, Nancy, one more time. If you want to leave, just say the word and I'll come get you.
Sally, one more time. I'm fine.
Well, then promise me you'll be careful, okay?
I promise. I'll be in touch.
You better.
Hello there. I owe you an apology. After you came up here looking for those red tails, I gave my map a closer look and realized it was more than 50 years old. Reason you can't find them is probably because their favorite nesting tree is gone. Finding that hawk's gonna be harder than I thought, so why don't you just give me back my camera and I'll take it from here. It didn't get burned up in that fire or anything, did it?
You'll be happy to know that I did get a picture of a red-tailed hawk. So here's your camera back. I got all the birds.
Thank you, Nancy. Nice work. You're a credit to your generation.
Where did those gas cans come from?
I ran out of gas. So much for being prepared, huh? Well, that's all I wanted to tell you. I'm sure you've got places to go, things to see, people to pester.
See you in a while.
Watch yourself out there.
You're back.
What do you know about the cemetery behind the Malone house?
People are buried there. Beyond that, what's to know?
Are Malone's dogs buried there?
That's the rumor.
Have you gotten the results back from that water sample I left with you?
I meant to call the Department of Health today for a status report, but frankly, I've been way too busy.
Sounds like Moon Lake could use 2 rangers.
If I were in charge of just 10 more acres of parkland, they'd give me an assistant, and I could devote more time to the acquisition of more land and eventually put Moon Lake on the map as one of the biggest, most popular parks in the state.
Why didn't the Parks Department buy the Malone property instead of Sally?
She outbid them, the cheapskates.
Well, if those dogs scare Sally away for good, other people are bound to think twice about buying the place. The bank will lower its price, and you'll have your land.
You're insinuating things again, Miss Drew.
I'm sorry, I really am. It's just that Sally's my friend, and I'd really like to find out why someone's doing this to her.
Tell you what, if you're serious about making amends, there's some boxes by the computer labeled with dates. They're from the estate of a local history buff. She kept everything from newspaper clippings to old photos to recipes for apple crisp. She put everything in envelopes, then numbered them by year using Roman numerals. Just put the envelopes in order by year with the earliest date in front. Oh, and if you're rusty on Roman numerals, there's an entry on them in the computer.
Okay if I read what's in the envelopes?
Don't go reading anything until you're through, or take my word for it, you'll never get finished.
Thanks for all your help.
Not a problem.
Let's see. Jeff said the envelope with the earliest date goes down in the front of each box. Now that they're all sorted, I can do some reading.
You're back.
I noticed you have a dog.
That's Yogi, who never goes out unless he's on a leash. Park rules.
Do you have any other dogs?
I hope you're not suggesting I trained Yogi to run around in the middle of the night barking and attacking houses.
I finished putting all those envelopes in order.
Excellent. Thank you, Miss Drew. And to show my gratitude, I've got something for you.
Chances are it isn't a paycheck.
No, it's an honorary Junior Park Ranger pin. I keep them on hand so I can give them out to children whom I see demonstrating respect for park rules and regulations. A little bit of positive reinforcement. Unfortunately, I don't get to give them out that often.
Oh, gee, thanks, Ranger Acres. Thanks for all your help.
Not a problem.
It's stuck. I need some sandpaper.
Nice Junior Park Ranger pen. You must really be on Acres' good side.
Do you sell sandpaper by any chance?
I do, but Mr. Birdbrain was in last week and cleaned me out. Said he was tired of that observation platform of his giving him splinters in his hinter regions.
I've disturbed him enough already. Would anyone else around here have some?
He's your only hope, but you better ask him for it quick. That deck of his is pretty big, and those squares I sold him are pretty small.
Guess I'll see you later.
You betcha.
Howdy.
I'm sorry to keep bugging you, but I need some sandpaper. Emily said you might have some.
Here, take it and scram. I was just about to call in a meadowlark. That was always Ruth's favorite.
Was Ruth your wife?
Good heavens, no. My wife had no patience for birding. Ruth was my dog. Border collie. She'd hear a meadowlark, and by golly, her ears would perk, and she'd cock her head, and she'd just come as close to smiling as ever a dog could.
Do many people around here own dogs?
Not really. Most people don't bother. The place is surrounded by park land, and Ranger Acres just loves enforcing the leash laws. There it is again. Take your sandpaper and go sand something, okay?
It's stuck. It could be mice making that sound. It looks like a tiny hole. What's the combination? I bet those were deer mice. William Akers? I wonder if he's related to Jeff Akers. Speakeasy. Joe Akers? Emily said Jeff Akers' father was named Joe. Maybe Jeff is related to William Akers after all. The dogs will lead the way. I wonder what that means.
You're back.
Sorry to bother you again, but did those results from the water test come in yet?
Well, there's something here for you from the State Department of Health.
Oh my gosh, not only is the water bad, but it seems like the well may have been contaminated deliberately.
I wouldn't go jumping to conclusions without proof, Ms. Drew. I'm sure there's a far less melodramatic explanation.
Where's Yogi?
In the run out back. Even out of sight, he's under my full control, as park rules require.
I found a newspaper dating back to 1927 in Sally's house. Since you're kind of an expert on the history of Moon Lake, do you mind if I ask you some questions about Mickey Malone?
Not at all.
The article mentioned that a man named William Akers used to work for Malone. Is he a relative of yours?
No. Quite a coincidence, I'll admit, but no. I am in no way related to the head flunky of some two-bit gangster and his gang of thugs.
I found this old picture in Sally's house. Do you know who these people are?
The man is Mickey Malone, I know that. I'm guessing that this is his girlfriend, Vivian Burnett, I think her name was. And judging by the year of that brand new Ford in the background, I'd say the picture was taken in 1928.
What would be the best way for me to find out who was living in Moon Lake in 1928 and where they ended up?
Tell you what, Miss Drew. Why don't I go through my files and see what I can dig up on this mystery woman? I'm a busy man, but like I always say, I'm here to serve.
When and why was Malone arrested?
I'm sorry, Miss Drew. As usual, I'm a little pressed for time. If you have more questions, why don't you sit down at the computer and peruse the Moon Lake database of fascinating factoids that I've put together?
What happened to Akers and the rest of Malone's gang after he went to prison?
Fortunately for Moon Lake, they all left and went their separate ways.
What do you know about a man named Joe Akers?
Why do you ask?
I understand he used to be the deputy here.
So?
Are you sure you're not related to William Akers?
All right, all right. William Akers was my grandfather.
And you don't want anyone to know that.
It's not exactly something I'm proud of. My father spent his whole life trying to make people forget what my grandfather was, and trying to make sure people who didn't know what he was never found out. I've been doing the same thing.
What did William Akers do after Malone was arrested?
I'm afraid you're going to have to excuse me, Miss Drew. In case you've forgotten, I'm a very busy man.